Hello, everybody. Joe Bagadones here. Welcome back for another episode of Umineko. Last time we left off, yeah, it's not going so hot. Um, yeah, Rudolph and Kyrie kind of going sicko mode. Kind of had a bit of a Joker moment. Uh, Body count shows. First Twilight done. So, are they gonna follow the rest of the epitaph? Is this a show, even without, the machinations of Beatrice, the Usher family is just doomed to its fate of being a bunch of shitters that, can't learn a lesson. And, fate has conspired against them because they suck. Shit's, it's gone off script, going off the rails a bit. Uh, yeah, it's not going great. Also, I'm a little tired today, as I am every single day, but doubly so. I've been waking up early, go on my runs before, because when I get off work, it's hot and humid as hell. I mention it all the time. I'm a little bitch. It's about when it gets above like 75 and a smidge humid, I just cease to function. Like all the all the moisture in my body just escapes through my skin in the form of sweat, and I just turn into a raisin. And I become bitchy and I'm tired and I just want to sit at home with my AC and my fan on, but I'm recording right now, so I had to turn my fan off, which, I mean, I could have my AC going in the background. It's only a mild hum with OBS's noise suppression on. It's barely noticeable. Like, you'll notice it a bit when I, like, start talking. That's like when the noise suppression turns off a little bit, so that way you can actually pick me up, and you can hear a little bit of humming, but it's not that bad right now. It's like 80 something outside, which is painfully warm for me. But I have to wake up early in the morning at like 5, right at the ass crack of dawn, go out, get my run before it's stupid hot and humid, where it's only just a little bit humid and not hot. And there's still that nice, like, cool morning dew feel in the air instead of, like, just wet, hot air feel. You know what I'm saying? So, that's making me tired. Uh, I've ran out of coffee. Like, I have none in the house. Like, even my backup cans of Boss, I've drunk them all. So, I've gotten, like, no caffeine today. So, I'm super, like, dropping off. Like, it ain't there, Chief. And work wasn't that bad today, but I was busy for most of the day. It wasn't like balls to the wall, crank it to 11 busy work. It was just like, a constant pace. So, I'm a little drained. But that doesn't matter because I have deadlines to meet. Self-imposed deadlines of that, the worst kind. And this needs to get up by tomorrow morning. Because as of now, I'm not done the poll. I haven't decided when I'm going to switch or if I'm going to switch when my videos are uploaded. So for the foreseeable future, for like a week or so, because that's about how long I decide I'm going to leave the poll up. So that way, votes can trickle in. I'm not expecting much. Probably like 20 votes at most. But if it's, a significant margin that's leaning one way, I'll take that into significant consideration if I'm going to change when I'm going to upload my videos. Right now, I think like noon is leading the pack with, keeping it at 7 a.m., trailing in second place, and 6 p.m. That's what I put, I think, in like a distant third. So don't forget to vote. It's in the community tab on my channel if you didn't see it in your notifications, so be sure to check that out. Anyway, moving on. Umineko. What's up, Valor?
何をする気だよ。この時間に今から
Oh, it's like a test of courage. Battler yelled wildly into the receiver. When he said, at this time of night, George and Jessica turned to look. According to the clock, it was past midnight. It might be a normal time to be told to brush your teeth and go to bed, but they couldn't understand what this test was all about.
分かったよ。変わるぜ。ジョージの兄貴に
Well, even if they did try to follow the epitaph to, like, the Twilights, they've already murked all the parents, they got Beatrice, who is, well, Shannon and Cannon have died at different times, quote unquote, died in the narrative at different points in time, and the other was still there. So we're in the box right now. So who's to say whether, if you take out Beatrice, if it's a chain reaction that Shannon and Cannon go down too? Probably not. Honestly, it seems like once we enter, the October 4th of 1986 on Rokinjima, any like, commonality of, individual between Beatrice, Shannon, and Cannon, they diverge in their own individuals inside the box. So they have, I don't want to say like free will or agency, but for intents and purposes, they are individual units, is my interpretation.
うちの親父から。もしもし、ジョージです。
Which would mean, separate the two who are close. That only leaves, Jordan Shannon and Jessica Cannon.
こんな時間にすまねえな。寝てたわけじゃねえだろ。みんなでいろいろ盛り上がってたんだろ。
そんなところです。マリアちゃんは寝てて。いや、目が覚めたみたいです。
Oh, yeah, Valerie's being noisy.
それで、何の話ですか？バトラ君はテストとか言ってましたけど。
Also, I just noticed the numbers on the receiver are backwards. Yeah, it's the sprite they normally use for the telephone, in the man from 19 years ago that always pops up, or whenever they're on the telephone in general. But all the numbers are backwards. Just wanted to point that out. It doesn't mean anything. It just means they flipped the background CG and didn't take into consideration that the numbers would also be backwards.
ああ、親父にも困ったもんさ。さっき唐突に上から降りてきてな。いろいろあった挙句、どの孫が次の当主にふさわしいかなんて話に急になっちまってよ。
次期当主はクラウスおじさんなんで。
You should know how, the old man feels
俺たち4
about it.
人はみんな次期当主失格だとよ。それで俺たち親をすっ飛ばして孫から次期当主を選ぶなんて話になっちまったわけさ。急な話で
Believable enough.
俺たちも大いに荒れてる。向こうで兄貴たちはケンケンガクガクやってるぜ。姉貴の金切り声が受話器越しにも聞こえねえか。
そうですか。おじい様がおっしゃることなら仕方がない。それで僕たちはどうすれば？
ジェシカちゃんから順に一人ずつ呼び出しがあるそうだ。ちょっと待ってくれ。もしもし。トップバッターはジョージ君とジェシカちゃんだそうだ。ジェシカちゃんは屋敷の客前。ジョージ君は礼拝堂の前まで行ってほしいそうだ。
Little dividing factor. Well, not being ready is part of the test.
親父のやつめ、おかしなクイズみたいなものを作ったみたいだ。当主の心構えとは何ぞや。みたいな沈問らしいぜ。
Yeah, we've seen that before. Of course, George felt as though something wasn't right. However, Kenzo was famous for doing radical things on a whim. Even the strange test seemed plausible once he heard it was a sudden idea of Kinzo's. But even in that case, if he wanted to test them one by one, why wouldn't he call them out one by one? Like an interview, they should just have to wait in the reception room and go when they were called. Why would two people be called at different places at the same time? The plan didn't seem to make sense, which made George feel as though he was missing something.
しかし、なんだってジョージ君は礼拝堂前なんだろうな。じいさまがな。特に要望して。よくはわからねえが、
Just butter him up a
二
little
人き
bit.
りで話したいことがあるそうだ。
おじい様が僕に。
何の話だろうな。ジョージ君は孫の中で一番優秀だからな。
Well, he's also the oldest, so
何か特に話したいことでもあるんじゃねえか。
he better be.
ま、とにかくそういうわけだ。すぐに移動してくれ。礼拝堂の方には俺も行くことになって
Yep, so don't be surprised when you see me skulking in the
さっさと
shadows.
済ませようぜ。お互い風邪をひいちまうわ。
そうですか。わかりました。では、僕は礼拝堂の前へ。ジェシカちゃんは客前へ。はい。それでは、後ほど。
Just what sort of test? What sort of private conversation could Kinzo want to have at this time of night? However, it was a well-known fact that Kinzo didn't have very long to live. It was conceivable that he had some last words for each of his individual descendants. Inside George's mind, the faint feeling that something was wrong was replaced by curiosity and a desire to meet Kinzo directly and hear the details. George set down the receiver and quickly explained to the others.
聞いたの通りだよ。おじい様が僕たち全員に何かのテストをしたいと言ってる。
テスト？何年
Is
か
it
ぶり
multiple
に書斎
choice?
から出てきたと思っ
I
た
don't
ら
know if they fill in the blank.
こ
Those
ん
are
な
the
時間
worst.
にテストごっこかよ。たくじいさまね。何を考えてやがんだ。
それに関しては、僕たちの親も同感のようだよ。かなり揉めてるみたいだ。
揉めたところでじい様には勝てないんだろうけど
Yeah,
な。
especially because he's dead.
そういうことだね。仕方がない。当主様の命令だからね。従おう。まず最初は僕とジェシカちゃんが呼ばれてる。僕は礼拝堂へ。ジェシカちゃんはお屋敷の客前だそうだ。
俺とマリアは
追って
あー
連
hang tight
絡があると思うよ。ここで待ってて。
真夜中のテスト。なんだろう。どんなテストだろう。クイズ？
It's gonna be a taste
パ
test.
ズル？マリア、狼と羊のパズルなら得意。
Ah, we know, Maria. We know. Maria, who is now fully awake, seemed to be very excited about this unexpected midnight
じ
test.
ゃあ俺たちは留守番してるぜ。
Yeah, just watch some TV or something.
じゃあ行ってくれよ。もう待ってるみたいだし。
If the picture gets fuzzy, just have Maria go stand out on the roof of the
次期当主は孫
antennas.
の誰かにね。私には好都合だぜ。誰かに押し付けるチャンス。マリア、次期当主になる。なりたい、なりたい。
Unlikely.
マリアが次期当主ってのも悪くねえぜ。
じゃあね。また後で。
Yep, then you'd have to deal with the hypothetical Rosa Regency Council. You know, factoring in if she was still alive. Which, nothing good can come from that. She just waste all the Ushermia fortune on fucking... just fucking, yeah. But, you know, boy toys or whatever. Rudolph put down the receiver and stood up.
さて、俺は礼拝堂前か。冷えそうだな。ゴーダさん、戻ってきたら熱いコーヒーの用意を頼むぜ。
Next to Rudolph, Godo was lying face up. His face was covered by a crossword puzzle book. However, its pages were stained with blood, and there was no need to move the book to imagine how he had met his pitiful end.
どう？いい脚本だったでしょ？
ああ、親父に感謝だぜ。親父の気まぐれってことにしときゃ。誰も疑いやしねえ。
じゃあ手分けしていきましょう。私はジェシカちゃんを、あなたはジョージ君を。
おう、手際よく済ませて、のんびりコーヒーでもすすろうぜ。
Well, you guys are all real casual about this, you know, mass murder.
今頃になって両親の呵責とか。
Nah, man, fuck them kids. Kyrie smiled coldly. Probably would have been safer to call them out one by one and finish them off together. However, Kyrie had chosen to have her husband work separately. She wanted to measure Rudolph's resolve. If she was the only one who got her hands dirty, and Rudolph just watched, his heart would not be as dedicated to this venture. By having him dirty his own hands, she could make him truly determined to see this thing through. Kyrie understood this sort of mind game better than anyone else. Rudolph reflexively averted his gaze from the cold glint in her eyes, Then he just shrugged and answered her question.
当たり前だろ10億の金が手に入るかどうかの瀬戸際にいるん
What
だ
is this fucking techno breakcore going on in the background? It's a little... It's a bit loud, I'm not gonna lie. Just obfuscates, you know, all the voice acting, but hey.
俺も男だぜ人生に二度とないチャンス棒に振るつもりはねえさ
What, to fucking cap someone?
それでこそルドルフさんよ。私はここ一番のチャンスを逃さない人が好
Good old carpe diem.
き。そんなあな
Seize
た
the
だ
fish.
から私
おお嬉しいぜ
ルドルフさ
なんだよ
んずっ
えなんだって
とずっと私の好きなルドルフさんのままで
Yeah, not gonna get cold feet, are ya?
当然だろ俺がいつお前を失望させたよお前はそんな心配より祝杯をあげる時のシャンパンの銘柄でも迷ってろってんだ
そうするわ。いい？バトラ君が大事なら礼拝堂前でジョージ君をやっちゃダメよ。
Okay.
死体を見つけられたら面倒でしょ。
ああ分かってる
Oh, good thing there's some fucking secret tunnels behind the chapel. You can just toss them in.
その辺にうまく誘い出す雨の屋外でどうとでもなるさ
西部劇の悪役じゃないんだからね。メイドの土産とか最後に言い残すことはとか
Yeah,
そん
don't
なこと言っちゃ
villain
ダメよ。
monologue. Kyria lifted her gun again and pulled on the lever to eject the casing from the bullet she had killed Goto with. You're picking up those casings, though, right? I know we're, you know, going with the explosion plan. Good cover-up. Quit crying. But as I was saying, yeah, if they're still going to come and do an investigation, you know, a crime scene investigation, because, you know, why wouldn't they? And you don't want to finding weird shell casings. And you could hand wave it as, oh, you know, old, you know, World War II explosives, you know, some ammo, whatever, it got cooked off, you know, this, there, that. But if it's like a weird caliber, like, you know, for an old Western liver action, why would the Imperial Japanese Army / Navy have that stored? Other than, you know, just weird fucking miscellaneous, you know, scraping the barrel, we gotta get whatever ammo we can kind of thing? Yeah.
あなた。
Abe was holding Hideyoshi's body and crying. She hadn't been shot at all. The bullet had grazed the side of her head and missed. Oh, she got better. She hadn't been playing dead. She really thought that she had been shot. When Kiri's gun spat fire, Ava felt something swift and fierce scrape past her head, before feeling lightheaded and fainting. Then, later on, she woke up in the now silent room of the Gold. The corpse of her beloved husband lay beside her, along with the corpses of Kraus, Natsuki, and Rosa. It was a room of death and piled up bodies. When she had cried all she could over Hideyoshi's body, she realized that she still had something she needed to do.
ジョージが危ないわ。ジョージ。
They're trying to use the bomb to blow up everything, to bury this whole island with an explosion accident. Ava checked the clock and was proven right. As expected, the switch was set to the right, which meant it was active. Ava moved to flip the switch to the left and stopped. That's right. As long as the switch points to the right, everything that happens on this island will disappear into a night of illusion. Yes, this is an illusion. No matter what happens tonight, everything will become muddled and hidden away.
あいつらはきっと残りのみんなを殺すわ。そうに違いない、絶対に。
When she looked at the table with the box of bullets, She saw signs that they had grabbed several large handfuls of bullets from the box. Clearly showed that they had planned to use that many bullets. I have to fight. If only to protect just the life of my precious son. The gun that I had dropped when I shot is stuck with its lever handle open. No matter how hard I pull, it won't open any further, and it won't close again. The bullet must have gotten jammed and broken it. What a cheap piece of shit that, just one jam, bricks the thing. It's just as Kyrie said. Loading a bullet is tough if you aren't used to it. No, it's really not. It's a solid mechanical action. There's not much wiggle room. It's just, you gotta go quick and commit to your actions.
お願いあなた力を貸してジョージを守るために
I mean, really, all you need is a pair of pliers. You can probably just yank the shell casing out and it's fine. In Hideyoshi's hand was Krause's gun, which he had been trying to pick up. Ava took it, prayed to her husband one more time, and tugged on the lever handle. With a light metallic sound, the golden casing spun through the air and bounced off the ground. When she timidly tried to push the lever back, this time it returned to its original place without any resistance. There was another metallic clang. It was the sound of a new bullet being loaded.
Hm. そんなことだろうと思ったわ。私にとって一番胸くその悪いゲームを見せて嘲笑ってやろうって魂胆ね。
In the game so far, various people have been suspected of being the culprit or an accomplice. The only difference now is that Rudolph and Kyrie were those suspects. However, that was the most aggravating development possible for Ange. Even Leon was full of painful thoughts. They had been lucky enough to solve the epitaph, which was the only miracle that could lead to a game with no victims. How ironic that they were unable to prevent the tragedy. Does this mean that they aren't allowed to have a future where we all happily return from this island alive, even if the epitaph is miraculously solved before the crime occurs? There will be, absolutely, no miracles. I recall those words, which I had heard in one of the fragments Bernd Castell had shown me.
ベルンカステルさん、あなたは私にこの世界の素晴らしさを教えてくれた。そんなあなたがエンジェを傷つけるためだけにこんな物語を紡ぐとは信じたくない。ゲームマスターがあなたであることはもう私にも分かっているんです。教えてください。どうしてあなたはこんなゲームを私たちに見せるんです。
Of course, no one answered Leon's muttered question. The game created to mock Ange continued emotionlessly, with a more terrible twist that didn't betray anyone's expectations anymore. New track, let's go.
好きに最悪のゲームを繰り広げればいい。
Give that a one we rarely hear.
猫箱の中の無限の可能性の中の一つだと言いたいんでしょ。好きになさいよ、好きに。私はこんなことではくじけない。
We just gotta need to overwrite it later with a more good truth.
1986年10月5日の真実をいつか必ず暴いてやるんだから。
After meeting Kyrie in the parlor, Jessica was told that the test would be held in the dining hall, and she followed Kyrie there.
誰もいねえぜ、キリエおばさん。
すぐに来るわよ。そこに座ってて。
As an old man, he has to go take his piss. His prostate's the size of a grapefruit. You can't get it all out at once. Jessica sat in that chair, looking nervous and agitated. Kyrie was by far the calmer of the two. Kyrie closed the door behind her, revealing the gun that rested behind it. Jessica was facing the other way, so she saw nothing.
キリエおばさんは聞いているんですか？どんなテストか。
ええ、すぐに終わるわよ。
そうだといいんですけどね。
A test of your reflexes. As she complained, Jessica turned her head around, and the tip of her nose bumped into cold metal. Rip.
ルドルフおじさん、何をするんですか？
後ろから撃つのはどうにも性に合わね
危ないじゃないですか。
Yeah, don't flag people.
一体何の真似です？
え。
Exactly what it looks
銃口を向
like.
けて引き金を引くってのは他に何の真似があるってんだ？
Rudolph reloaded rapidly and pulled the trigger again without any signs of hesitation. Oh, really? Fucking like kidney shot? Oh. Why the fuck do you do that? As the sounds of gunfire thundered through the rain, George grabbed at his side and fell to his knees.
おかしい。やっぱり狙いより下にずれるぜ。
You're not that far away. You shouldn't have that much drop off.
この銃、癖がひ
Like, even a musket, you know. Like, where the fuck were you aiming?
誰か助けて。
I think you just don't know how to aim. You know, weird lever action probably has weird iron sights that, you know. George started stumbling away, still clutching at his side. His voice as he called for help was weak and thin. Behind him, Rudolph looked perfectly calm as he fiddled with his gun and inspected the sights. A gouging pain in George's side tormented him, so painful that he could barely stand and walk. He leaned against the trunk of a tree. After he crouched down, trying to cover his wound, he was no longer able to stand back up. George didn't have a clue what was going on. However, he had thought it strange the whole time. Of course, it was strange that he should be called out to a place like this at a time like this. And yet, how could he have guessed that something was wrong? After all, his own uncle had told him that his grandfather was calling for him from the family conference. How could he have gotten suspicious?
悪いな、ジョージ君。痛えか。これなら背後から脳天をズドンとやった方が慈悲があったよ。何もわからねえうちにズドンじゃあまりに無慈悲かと思ったんだが。
Yeah.
どう？
どうしてルドルフおじさん、
Money!
あんなに優しかったおじさんがどうして。
Money!
このことは忘れろ。明日の夜には全てなかったってことになる。
With a quick use of the lever handle, he loaded another bullet. The casing of the bullet that had pierced George's side fell heartlessly in front of him.
突然の不幸な事故でみんな死んじゃう。
Kira even warned you about doing this, bud. You're doing your whole fucking monologue.
その瞬間まで俺たち親族が仲良くやってたんさ。そうなるんだ。だからこいつは気にする。忘れる。
Of course, George didn't have a clue what Rudolph was talking about. All he knew was that Rudolph wanted to kill him, and he showed no trace of hesitation. The image George had of Rudolph as the ideal, cool, joke-loving adult didn't match up with Rudolph standing in front of him, holding a gun. No, maybe it didn't fit because it fit too well. Even though there was a gun in his hands, Rudolph had a huge smile on his face, as though he was about to tell some hilarious joke. Why would that kind, funny Uncle Rudolph do this? It made him feel unimaginably sad, and tears flowed from his eyes.
ルドルフおじさん、あなたのことに憧れてたのに。
いつも言ってたろ、ジョージ君。俺みたいな大人になっちゃダメだぞって。つまりはそういうことさ。来世で。
Mm-hmm. Always has been scum.
最初に養うんだ。ジョージ君ならできるさ。何しろ勤勉なんだ。
Fighting down the pain in his side, and summoning the last of his strength, George threw his whole body into a roundhouse kick. At the same time, fire spat from Rudolph's gun. The bullet pierced George's chest. George twisted and fell as blood gushed from the wound. He moaned wordlessly, clenching, blood-stained teeth. The frigid gun was pressed harshly against his temple.
来世であの男みたいに俺みたいが金に目がくらむ外道にはなる。ルドルフおじさんがお金で人を殺すなんて
I don't know, I can.
上司殺せるんだぜ金で。
The ruthless trigger forestalled any further questions. George's hands, which had been covering his wound, dropped lifelessly. After Rudolph saw the last glimmer of life leave him, he let out a deeply exhausted sigh he'd been holding back for some time. Well, that was rather messy.
案外こんなもんなんだな。
Rudolph looked up into the dark, rainy sky, the raindrops hitting him full in the face, and laughed with an indescribable expression, his tongue hanging out.
と両親が痛むと思ってたぜ。終わってみりゃ案外こんなもんだ。
Chuckle, chuckle, gahahahaha. Rudolph started laughing. This was probably just the thing Kiri had hoped for. It had taken some effort to kill George. Though he had been merciless, the last traces of consciousness in Rudolph's heart had probably slowed him down. However, now that he had killed someone with his own hands, a turning point that few people ever reach, Rudolph had finally awakened. No, he finally understood.
バカから金を絞り取るんだ。全く同じことさ。いつもの石取りゲームじゃん。目の前に金の山があったら早いもん勝ち。遅いやつは蹴落とされて地獄行きってわけさ。
I've scammed dozens of unfortunate saps and buried them in debt. Several of them probably ended up bankrupt, and some of those might have hanged themselves. And I've always laughed, saying that wasn't my problem. That's all there is to it. The only difference now is that, for the first time, I've dealt the final blow with my own hands.
ありがとうよキリエ。いつもお前は俺の心の甘えを断ち切ってくれるよ。
Well, I guess the whole family gets their fucking, sense of, fucking theater from their old good old Kinzo. Rudolph's evil laugh rang out. The laugh was so purely evil, it was almost refreshing. Evil that still had a conscience and thinks itself good is far more repulsive to behold. If a man commits himself to an evil act, how much more pleasant and graceful it is when he's honest about his intentions. In that sense, Rudolph's evil smile and laugh were truly pleasant and graceful. And so, surely the brutal, bloody stage of the dining hall was also refreshing. A clang, a thud, a crack, a squish. A strange mixture of these sounds kept repeating over and over at the same tempo. Each time, a red splash landed on a nearby dangling tablecloth.
ジェシカちゃん、聞こえてる？
Carrie asked this with a sort of smile any aunt might make to her niece. However, Jessica didn't answer. There was nothing particularly surprising about this. After all, by now, her nose was broken, her eyes had been smashed, and her teeth had been knocked out. And not only her nose, but her entire face was now hardly recognizable as a face, just a lump of bloody flesh. Kyrie finally stopped her task of repeatedly smashing Jessica's face with the stock of her gun. Still sitting atop of Jessica, Kyrie tossed her gun to the side, pulled a compact out of her pocket, and looked at her own face in the mirror. Then, finally, She realized that her face was covered by speckles of fresh blood.
ひどいありさまだわ。服も台無しじゃない。
With a muffled laugh, Kyrie shakily rose to her feet. Jessica wasn't moving anymore. She had been convulsing a bit until a second ago, but now she was still as stone.
女の顔を殴ることに関しちゃおばさん慣れてるの。ごめんね。抵抗しないでくれたら綺麗な死に顔にしてあげる。
Brutal. Kyrie pulled the tablecloth off and used it like a towel to wipe the blood from all over her body. However, instead of taking the blood off, it just smeared it around, and it did nothing to remove the stench of blood and death that covered her. When she got tired of smearing blood over the tablecloth, Kyrie walked over to the extension telephone in the corner of the room. Then, she dialed the number for the cousin's room in the guest house.
もしもし、私よ。今度はバトラ君の番よ。今度はバトラ君が礼拝堂前に行ってちょうだい。ええ、そう。マリアちゃんの指示は受けてないわ。そこで待っててもらって。ええ、しっかりね。バトラ君が次期当主に選ばれるよう応援してるわ。
With the same smile as usual, and the partly white splashes of blood still covering her face, Kyrie finished her call to Battler. When she set down the receiver, there was a small knock, and Rudolph came back into the room.
おう、ひでえありさまだな。
ジェシカちゃん、思ったより反応のいい子でね。まさかあそこで払いのけられるとは思わなかったわ。
この死に様じゃ、むしろお気の毒としか言えんね。夏日姉さんにのいい女が台無しだぜ。
そっちは手こずらなかった。
問題なしだ。
Well, there's a bit, but all resolved. When Kyrie heard Rudolph's instant response, she favored him with an evil smile. Yes, the man she loved was the sort who could do whatever he put his mind to, without letting cheap emotions get in the way.
愛してるわ、ルドルフさん。そうでなくっちゃ。
これで日当が10億出るならちょろい仕事じゃん。親父がよく言ってたぜ。男は人生で一度人を殺す覚悟を持って臨む日が訪れるってね。
常に相手を殺してでも生き残る覚悟を持ってよね。
Sure.
お父様の言葉の中で一番好きな言葉よ。
お次はどうする？俺のライフルは血を求めてるぜ。
次は
Really
大仕
embracing
事
the
よ。
fucking villain role, huh?
バトラ君の説得。
おっと、こいつは面倒だ。引き金引かずに終わりたいもんだ。
私は気に入ってるのよ。エンジェとの3人家族の生活。でもどうしてもそれにバトラ君を加えたいというな
A little bit rude, but sure.
頑張ってね。
おう、グーの音も言わせねえつもりだ。大丈夫。うまく騙すシナリオも用意してるさ。
Okay.
頑張ってね。私もできることならエンジェの大好きなお兄ちゃんが爆発事故に巻き込まれないことを願ってるわ。
Yeah, she get real upset about it.
分かってるさ。じゃあ俺は礼拝堂に戻るぜ。
ルドルフさん、
なんだ？
バトラ君が納得しなかった。
Mm-hmm. Do what you gotta do.
分かってる。その時はズドンだ。
バトラ君は私との再婚に抗議して家を飛び出すくらいに行動力がある中途半端な丸め込み方で後日にいろいろと騒がれた。
And he's a smart cookie.
彼は私たちの命取りになるの。
分かってな。俺を信じろ。
もしバトラ君が不信感を持ってると私が判断したならその時は私の手で殺す。私の子供じゃないんだ。
Still a crime.
分かってる。だからキリエ、一つだけ約束してくれ。
何？
もしバトラーをうまく丸め込めて島から3
Hands
人
off.
で出られたら、
出られたら
バトラのことを二度と私の子供じゃないみたいなことを言うな。お前は 母なんだから頼む。
いいわ。約束してあげる。
If you say so. Kirei shrugged and answered as she loaded bullets.
あなたは礼拝堂へ。私はバトラ君が出て行った頃を見計らってゲストハウスの連中をすべて片付けるわ。
大丈夫か？一人で。
そっちこそ。
Battler left the guest house under an umbrella. And I'm yawning, give me a sec. Oh. He had been called to the area in front of the chapel, just like George had been. Not even half an hour had passed since the time George and Jessica had been called out. Apparently, this test didn't last too long.
クソじじいめ、昼飯にさえ姿を出さなかったくせに、こんな時間にのこのこ現れてテストだとは恐れ入るぜ。
Exactly in character.
引きこもり生活で昼夜が逆転してやがるに違いねえ。
Complaining all the way, Battler strolled off into the rain. Ugh. Almost immediately, he was swallowed up by the darkness of the rose garden and passed out of sight. And then, Kyrie could be seen coming out from the darkness of the rose garden. Her right hand held a gun, her left an umbrella. Her inner pocket contained the master key she had stolen from Goda. Her right pocket had a handful of bullets. Her left hand held a knife that she had taken from the kitchen. She was careful and perfectly outfitted. She was a carefully and perfectly outfitted murderer. Another bolt of lightning struck down from the swirling skies. It lit up only half of Kyrie's face. Her cheek was still covered with Jessica's blood. Under the eaves, Kyrie folded up her umbrella, smiled, and spoke to no one.
ただいま、みんな。
Rudolph could be seen under the eaves of the chapel. He had hidden his gun in the nearby shadows and was now smoking a
あ
cigarette.
の単細胞を騙すなんて簡単なもんさ。うまくいかなきゃそれだけの話だぜ。
He glanced over at the place he had stowed his gun. The cigarette smoke began to pleasantly cloud his mind. Battler isn't a kid anymore. He's an adult who can choose his own path through life as he pleases. When animals grow up, it's normal for them to leave their group and go on a journey. Humans are the only ones that keep treating them like kids even after they get
こん
big.
なことならお前に土下座なんかするんじゃなかったな。お前を連れ戻して後悔してるぜ。
He puffed out those words along with the smoke. When Battler came back, he didn't intend to voice those regrets of his. Rudolph had already determined to play the part of an evil murderer who kills for money.
遅えな。まだ来ねえのか。
I mean, it's dark. At that moment, he heard the sound of someone stepping on gravel. He looked up, thinking that Battler had finally arrived, but the sound had come from the direction opposite of the mansion.
Rudolph, よくもうちの人を。
姉貴、生きてたのか。
You didn't confirm your kills. You should have fucking hit her with the Mozambique. You need to work on your rifle drills, Rudolph.
生きてたわよ。でもうちの人はダメだったわ。よくも。
With a face obscured by anger and tears, Ava slowly walked closer, her gun raised. Her husband had been killed right in front of her. She probably wouldn't even hesitate. Realizing that a gun, quivering with anger, was pointed right at his chest, Rudolph backed away. As he pretended to back away, he approached the gun he had hidden in the shadows.
落ち着けよ姉貴。
Yeah, calm down, Ava. You're being hysterical.
その銃を下ろせって。俺だってあんなことを望んだわけじゃない。突然のことで俺にもどうしようもなかったんだ。
Yeah, you know, after Rose is dead, and the witch lady, she's dead too. You know, come on. As Ava had said, it really had been a half-baked, pointless thing to say. Rudolph would have said anything if he thought it would calm Ava's emotions before she pulled the trigger, which she looked capable of doing at any moment now. Then, Rudolph's foot came in contact with his gun.
とにかく話をしよう。もうじきジョージ君も来るはずだ。お、いやジョージ君、ここだここだ。
Rudolph waved, as though George was coming from behind Ava. Let Ava's attention turn in that direction. An idiot. My simple, big sister has always been a sucker. Die! Gunfire. Then, a bit later, the sound of something heavier than rain, drip dropping onto the cobblestone floor. Like, you really expected that to work, bud?
あんたの小細工なんて昔からお見通しよ。
The bullet Ava fired had struck Rudolph square in the chest. The bullet Rudolph fired had missed, landing near Ava's feet.
やっぱこの銃狙いが下にずれてるぜ。
He dropped the gun into a puddle with a splash, staggering backwards and leaned against the wall of the chapel. Not if you're missing by an entire fucking like body length worth of like person, that gun isn't just badly sighted. It's I don't even know what to call it. Are you shooting a fucking blunderbuss? Like with one fucking like pellet in it? Like that's not what? No, even if it's like keyholing, the bullet's not gonna do that if you're aiming at like center mass. Come on. He dropped the gun into a puddle with a splash, staggered backwards, and leaned against the wall of the chapel.
悪党の弾は外れるってのが西部劇のお約束じゃねえか。
Ava dashed up to him, kicked away the gun that had fallen into a puddle, and grabbed Rudolph by the collar.
ジョージはどこ？
Too late.
ジョージは殺させないわよ。
悪いな兄貴、もうやっちまった。
嘘よ。
向こうの茂みでやった。行けよ、すぐわかる。
Yeah, what a piece of shit, huh? Ava, who said she always had been able to see through her little brother's tricks, also knew that Rudolph's final words, as his consciousness began to fade from having been shot, were not a lie.
よくもジョージを。ジョージを。
An empty shell casing bounced off the cobblestone. The furious gun barrel was pressed against Rudolph's forehead.
撃てよ。それくらいで気は晴れねえだろうが。
A bolt of lightning turned everything white. However, the wall of the chapel was stained blood red. A red splash like a crushed tomato covered the wall behind Rudolph's head. Then, leaving a red trail behind him, Rudolph slid down the wall, sat on the ground, and fell over.
ジョージ。
He ain't doing so hot.
ジョージ。
Ava dashed off towards the bushes. She found George's corpse almost immediately, screamed, and broke down sobbing. Rudolph's bloody corpse was exposed to the rain, and that ran down the eaves. His eyes were still wide open. A ragged, fist-sized hole had been torn open in the back of his head, exposing its contents to the open air. The inside was minced flesh and bright red jelly. That goop, which looked like someone had mixed it up with a spoon, dripped from his eyes, nose, ears, and mouth, and the hole in his head. Yeah, even if he did deserve it this time around, still gotta be tough to watch, huh? You need a barf bag? Anjay clutched her head, sobbing and moaning. Her father had dirtied his hands with murder over money, and on top of that, he had faced such a cruel end, and Anjay had been forced to see his corpse. It was hard to imagine a more painful experience for a daughter to go through. Totally fed up with this. It's completely meaningless.
ベルンカステルさん、いるんでしょうどこかに。もうこのゲームをやめてください。何の意味もない。
As if in answer to that yell, a black shadow appeared a few seats in front of them. Or perhaps she'd been sitting there the whole time. Yeah, she's pretty short. Even if she was just sitting down normally, you wouldn't see her. Maybe we just couldn't see her until we realized she was there. It was, without a doubt, the back of Berncastell's head.
ベルンカステルさん。うるさいわよ。静かに鑑賞できないの。
No, we're in America. This is like where people clap in the theaters. The witch turned around with bored eyes, as though the two who were yelling were the strange ones.
もうやめてください。
Also, those people are really annoying. I can't fucking stand people who make like any noise in the theater. That's mainly because whenever I would go to the theater, it was always the matinees. So like 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. You know, there's like 5 people in the theater, and we're all just there to chill. Compared to like, I don't know. Oh god, when was the last time I went to a big thing in the theaters? I think it was when I went to go see Endgame. That was like a packed theater. Ugh, awful. It fucking sucked. Besides getting like in a weird spot, like I was in one of the front rows on the very end, so I had to like crane my neck to see the screen the entire time. It's just people are noisy and loud and like fucking talking and like laughing. Like I can get having a chuckle, but you know, obnoxious people laughing and clapping. It's like, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to watch the movie. Same with people who clap when it lands.
この世界が10月4日から5日の
It's
間
like the
に
plane was gonna reach the
閉ざされ
ground
た
one way
猫
or
箱の
another,
世界だと
you
い
know.
うことは私たちも理解しています。
No one's left one up there yet. Calm yourself, people. The games are like messages. Or more like a roundabout love letter, conveying a single message over several games. But we already understand. We know that endless tales can seep out of the sealed 2-day cat box. And beyond that, I even know the culprit and the motive. That has already been revealed, and it has nothing to do with this game.
猫箱の物語という回を私たちは2人とも得ているんです。だからこれ以上このようなゲームを繰り返す理由はないはずです。もしこれがあなたと私たちのゲームだというなら、私たちはすでに答えを得ている。ゲームは終了していいはずです。
うっさいわよあんた。静かにしろってベルンが言ってんでしょ。
Another shadow appeared in the next seat over, turned around, and scolded the pair.
意味ならあるわよ。見てればわかるわ。
There's always more context to be
ゲーム
gleaned.
マスターはあなたですか？
違うわよ。
では誰が？まさかクレルが？
見ていればわかるわ。すぐにね。
Okay.
もう惨劇もクライマックスだわ。
I mean, we've already heard, you know, Ava Beatrice, you know, with her fucking cackling and like really obnoxious manner of speech. So.
生き残るのはどっちかしら。
Well, I mean, it seems like we're on track to get, you know, the backstory of the fragment that produced, you know, the Witch of the Millennium, Anjay or whatever. Bergcell isn't the game master? Then who is? Could Claire have created this cruel tale? Or are there even more witches playing around with this cat box? The guest house was wrapped in silence. There were no sounds, no trace of anyone's presence, no breathing from anyone alive. There wasn't anything to be heard anymore. If there was a sound, then it would only be the sound of the murderer's feet stepping across the floor. Kyrie slowly passed through the lounge. In her right hand was a gun. In her left hand was a knife. The knife was stained with blood, and some was still dripping from the tip, leaving behind red tracks like a demon's footprints. Her hands were filled with the tools of murder, so she wasn't capable of doing anything but murder. In that sense, at this moment, she was nothing more than a pure and unadulterated murderer. The murderer reached the front door, and then, finally, she looked down at her blood-stained hands. The hands that carried the tools of death with which she had performed her cruel massacre. At last, the murderer realized that she couldn't even open the door like this, and threw away the knife in her left hand. Then she placed her hand on the door, turned around calmly, and spoke.
ごめんね、みんな。でも安心してね。数日後、新聞は不幸な事故を掲載するわ。そしてあなたたちは事故の瞬間まで何も知らずに楽しく過ごしていたに違いないと、新聞もニュースも噂する人々も言うでしょうね。
You just get them in their sleep?
それはつまり、あなたたちは10月5日の24時まで楽しく過ごしていたということ。
So said the one who had stained the guest house red.
この時間にはいとこ同士で楽しくはしゃいで夜更かしをしている。そして朝が早い使用人の人は高いびき、遅番の人は日誌でも書いて、あるいはほっと一息を入れてる頃でしょうね。そういうことなの。ここでこうしていると、いとこ部屋での大はしゃぎが
Yep,
聞こえてくるのよ。
gotta get the alibis. Humans outside the cat box would probably never understand what Kyrie was saying. Only she, shut inside the cat box at the explosion accident, could understand the true meaning of her words. Outside, the rain poured down heavily. Kyrie almost picked up an umbrella, but then stopped suddenly, as if she just thought of something. Then, she started walking out into the rain, not caring at all whether she got wet or not. Did the murderer not want an umbrella to get in the way of her pointing her gun? Or was she hoping that the rain could act as a shower to get the blood off her? Now, blood's really hard to get out. I mentioned before, your best bet's hydrogen peroxide. Kyrie stopped walking, as though something unexpected had caught her attention. However, this time, it was no whim of hers.
うちの人よくも殺したわね。あら、エヴァ姉さん、ショックだわ。あの距離で外してたの。私も驚いてる。まさか自分が
I mean, yeah, it's really
生き
impressive.
てたなんてね。礼拝堂裏の地下階段から戻ってきたの。なら、ええ。
Yep.
礼拝堂の前でルドルフにも会ったわ。元気そうだった？
Well, before he died.
兄弟で久しぶり。仲良く語り合った。そう、目立ちたがり屋なのに、ここ一番で頼りない人ね。やっぱりあの人は私がいないとダメなのね。
Kyrie had already realized that Rudolph had been killed. However, no trace of urgency or panic rose to her face. Yep, no crying over spilt milk. She just closed her eyes with her usual unconcerned expression. And when she opened them again, she had regained her composed smile.
ありがとう。感謝するわ。これで本当に私が全てを否定
And you can even get rid of Battler too without, you know, causing ruffling any feathers. Besides Anjay, you know, bitching for a bit, but, you know, she'll forget about him eventually.
あんた、ゲストハウスから出てきたわね。まさか。そうよ。 今私殺人事件の真っ最中。殺したのみんな。
Yep.
マリアちゃんまで生かして朝を迎える理由がないわ。
She was the easiest. You know, children's bones are soft and they break easy.
朝になれば騒ぎになって面倒になる。無線で島の外に連絡したり助けを求めたりするかもしれない。だからこれが極めてベストにチェス盤をひっくり返して考える。人でなし金に目がくらんで人の命を奪うなんて。あなただってうまいことやったわ。
Yeah.
あれは事故よ。殺すつもりなんてなかった。あんたとは違うの。違わないの。
Get it in her head. Plant the seed.
もし銃の暴発が起こらなければあなたたちはいつまでも口論と組合を続けていたわ。
And he would have just shot for real
そ
eventually.
うすればあなたたちも数手遅れで私と同じ答えに行き着いたはず。私は殺人鬼じゃないわ。いいえ、なり損ねただけの立派な殺人鬼よ。エヴァ姉さんは暴発に救われただけ。あの幸運がなければ、そして
You
私
know, we
はあ
all
なたよ
got
り
it in
先に
us.
実行
In
に
the
移
right
さな
scenario, push the buttons in the right order.
あなたが私の役をやっていた。それだけはあなたがいくら否定しようとも変わらない異なる未来の真実のわけのわからないこと言わないで。
However, on the inside, Ava understood. Back then, she probably had been saved by that coincidental misfire. If the argument had continued much longer, she would have surely grown a desire to kill Kraus and the others, and might even have carried it out. She simply could not deny the existence of that demon deep within her heart. Only the theatergoers knew. They knew that she could become a killer in another world. And Kyrie, who did not have the theater-going ability, knew this fact also. Apparently, she really was an extraordinary person. So, for some time, Ava could only grind her teeth in silence, still pointing her gun.
私にはわからないわ。あなたも自分のお腹を痛めて子を産んだ経験を持つ母のはず。命の尊さを知らないわけがない。
Because she did the math and found out, you know, how much all their organs were worth.
そのあなたがどうして
And she's like, yep, this'll cover it.
ことができるの。子供なんて勝手にできる。そういう話じゃないでしょ。子は貸すないって言うわよね。
Shames.
それが何？子は夫をつなぎ止めておくためのかすがいなの。
Uh-huh.
ルドルフさんに私のことを認めさせ、あの女から彼を取り戻すためのかすがいだった。でもルドルフさんはあなたの子
She's a free agent.
だったらわかるでしょ。わかる。
Unbound.
どういう意味？私はもう誰かの妻でもないし、母のつもりもないということで、私は私、キリエ、ルドルフさんが死んだ今、後ろ宮でさえないわ。私は私の得になるように生きる。そう。
Yep, back on the market.
ルドルフは死んで、あんたは妻ではなくなったかもしれん。で、エンジェちゃんがいるでしょ。あんたはまだ母であり続けるはずよ。言ったでしょ。かすがいって。ルドルフさんがいなくなった今、
Oof.
エンジェは私にとって
Ooh, that's gotta
必要
sting.
なものじゃないの。それが母親が
there are people like that out in the world.
ネバ姉さん、やめましょうよ。綺麗事は。綺麗事？私たちって子供が欲しくて結婚したの？違うでしょ。好きな男と一緒に暮らしたいから結婚したんでしょ。
Maybe they guess.
そして結婚したんなら、その男を一生手放したくないと思うでしょ。子供はそのための武器じゃない。そんなこと考えて
The old ball and chain. I mean, they do though.
そんなこと考えて子供を作ることもできる。
Unfortunate, but it's true. Kyrie kept on speaking emotionlessly, ignoring the falling rain. Her relaxed smile did not falter for an instant.
エンジェなんてルドルフさんを縛り付けるための、あるいは家族ごっこをするための子供の役という名の子。私にとってエンジェはルドルフさんの前で良き母を演じるときに必要な駒だ。
Ingratiate him to you.
あんたそれをエンジェちゃんの前で言える？
さすがに気の毒だから本人には言わないの。
Yep. Mm-hmm.
悪いお母さんを
Like
許
right
してね
now.
とでも書いて姿をくらますつもり。ローザさんとマリアちゃんを見ればわかるでしょ。ルドルフさんがいない今。
Yeah, I would never be like that to her. You know, all the wounds I inflict are emotional and mental, nothing physical. I'm not a monster.
私は元のたった一人の切り絵に戻り、のんびりと余生を楽しむつもりよ。新しい挑戦、新しい人生、ひょっとしたら新しい恋もあるかもね。それでも人間
Man, this whole family just sucks.
エンジェちゃんの母なの。エンジェなんかしたことじゃないわよ。あんなクソガキ。
Nah, all kids
可
are.
愛いと思ったことなんて一度だってない。
Oh.
あんたって人は。あなただってもう家族ごっこから解放されたでしょ。
Yeah, let's just, team up. Cougars on the prowl.
謳歌しましょうよ。女の自由を感謝してほしいわ。
人でなしが。
But, both of you doing a whole lot of talking, not a lot of shooting. The two yells and the sound of gunfire thundered across the dark rose garden. Slowly, Ava fell backwards. Then she landed in a puddle, scattering countless drops of water. Across from her, Kyrie spun around as though dancing. Well, there goes that theory of this being the actual timeline that produced, our Angers. Post episode 3, whatnot. But nope. Nope. Well, Battler's still kicking. He is a soul that it yearns and burns brightly for justice. Clearly, he will not let this stand. Beautiful, black rose petals scattered around her. They were dark red rose petals. As these rose petals sprayed from her throat, she spun around in a circle and slowly crumpled. Ugh. Well, worse ways to go if, you got her right in the artery. At least she'll die quick. Not that she deserves it, but... Then she fell to the ground, sending muddy water flying. The two women had both fired their guns and fallen. However, when the thunder roared, it was only Ava who sat back up. Damn, she's like a fucking roach. Either that or just Kyrie and Rudolph both have atrocious aim. Ava hadn't been shot. Kyrie's intensity had made her fall backwards, but the bullet had once again only grazed her. Ava cursed her good luck. Why couldn't this luck have saved her husband or her son?
エンジェちゃんだった。そこで死になさい。あんたは
Mm-hmm.
爆発事故で死ぬ。
She'll never need to hear the truth about what happened.
死ぬ直前の瞬間
Also, again, scratch my theory about this.
置いてきた娘のことを
Scratch me scratching my theory about this being the timeline that produced, the post episode 3, old bitchy Ava and, Anjay.
そう刻む猫箱の蓋の上にね
Akira heard this. Blood dripped from her grinning mouth, and she seemed to say something in response. However, her voice only came out as globs of blood from the hole in her throat, not words.
こんなの嘘よ
I don't know, is it? We haven't seen it in, red or gold, so.
エンジェどうか落ち着いてこれはゲームですあれがあなたのお母さんの本心のわけがないこんなのゲームマスターが
Hey, it's only game. Why you have to be mad? But saying that did nothing to calm Anjay's sobs. I don't blame her. Even if she knows it's just a game, she's been forced to see not only her mother's death, but also her mother announcing that she was the culprit of a mass murder who didn't even love her daughter. Anyone would sob after hearing that.
ベルーン・カステルさんもういい加減にしてください誰がゲームマスターだろうと今すぐこの無意味なゲームを終わりにしてください
Well, if it's not Burn and it's not Lamb, who else is the one writing stories, huh? Well, besides Battler, I don't think it's Battler. Featherine, evil bitch. They all are. When Leon yelled this, the theater suddenly went pitch black, swallowed in darkness. However, that wasn't enough to shock Leon. Leon continued to yell Bernkasel's name into the darkness, telling the witch to stop this game. Then, a single beam of light shone down upon the stage. There was Claire, the one who had appeared for just a second right before the cruel game began.
フレルやはりこれは
I don't know, are you?
あなたがゲームマスターだったのですかわからないどうして
Claire didn't answer. In fact, it looks as though she hadn't even heard. Her eyes were blank, and you couldn't tell where she was looking at. In fact, she was even forgetting to blink. She looked just like a doll. Then another beam of light lit up the side of the stage. Under that light stood Bernkastel. At the same time, though there appeared to be no one in the audience, a large applause rang out. Bernkastel raised her right hand in response to the applause. She kept doing so until the applause died down.
ベルーン・カステルさんやはりあなたがこのゲームのマスターなんですか
Nope, just an underling.
リオン、私はゲームマスターじゃないと。
Just a nice, faithful little Miko.
ではフレルだというのですかそんなはずはない
ええ、そんなはずはもちろんないわ。だってクレルは死んだもの。私たちはその葬儀に立ち会ったはずよ。忘れた？
ではここに立っている彼女は一体
死体よ。剥製じゃないよ。だからもちろん中身がいる。綺麗な姿で隠しているけれど、内側にはドロドロの腹渡が詰まっている。
Huge guts. Rip and tear. Oh, hey, it's Erica Scythe. When Bernkastel raised her right hand, the light fell onto it, and a black shining scythe appeared there. Or would it be more accurate that it's Burn's scythe that Erica was just using? Question mark? It was a cold, merciless, and cruel object, like something a classic Grim Reaper might hold.
何をする気ですか
生きてはそのあがきをめでる。死んでは綿をかき出してめでる。物語が二度楽しめるのよ。それが 感激の魔女というもの。
Time to dissect the tale. Get all the juicy details. Berncastel pressed the blade of her Reaper's scythe against Claire's stomach, then slowly slid it across. Then, along the lines she traced, Claire's dress was sliced open. It was now clear that the scythe she held was not a fake one for theatrical use. And it was clear just what she planned to do next that made her cruel smile so fitting.
エンジェ、私の声が聞こえる？
She's having a bit of a moment.
私をクズ肉にしたり、本を読ませてみたり。
The worst, not reading.
今度は何？この最悪の物語を見せつけて、私を苦しめるわけね。楽しい？ええ、楽しいでしょうね。私も楽しませてもらったわよ。これぐらいで私が値を上げると思った。
You're made of tougher stuff than
あん
that.
たの悪趣味なゲームにこれ以上泣き叫んでなんかやるもんですか。
あんたも、そしてリオンも。
Oh, it's because you get so fiery like this. It just makes it all the more fun to poke you.
二人とも勘違いをしているよ。私は
Yeah,
ゲ
yes,
ー
we
ム
know.
マス
You
ター
told
なんか
us.
じゃない。この物語も私が紡いだものなんかじゃない。
じゃあそこのドレスの女がゲームマスター？
No, we've been over this. It's a corpse. Unless you're talking about Lambda Delta.
いいえ、違います。そんなはずはないんです。ならゲームマスターは誰です？誰がこの悪趣味な物語を紡いでいるんですか？
まだわからないよ。
Or, again, you know, Ava Beatrice.
何がわからないというのよ。
エンジェ、あなたは
But that doesn't seem fitting for this one.
全てをかけて身を投げ出してみせたわ。私はその勇気に敬意を表して1986年10月4日からの2日間の世界に招いてあげた。あなたの目的は何だった？家族を連れ戻す。
Mm-hmm.
それはとても難しいこと
Do you
で
really want him back?
奇跡に愛されなければ到底ありえないこと。
But then again, if she does theoretically get him back, they won't be the ones of, you know, this game. Because they're both dead. So it's like it never happened. Don't go poking through the kaleidoscope of possibilities. Some of the things you find might not make you very happy.
それは覚悟していたわね。
覚悟の上よ。そして私はまだお兄ちゃんもお母さんもお父さんも諦めていない。
諦めないのは勝手。それはあなたのゲームだもの。私は応援しないし、あなたという駒を使ったゲームを私はすでに十分楽しんだし。
せいせいするわね。ならどうして私はここにいるの？
Someone else is borrowing you.
招待したのはあんたじゃないの。
そうね。招待したのは私の駒としてひとときを楽しませてくれた。そのお礼にね。
お礼？魔女式のってわけね。
What more did you
楽しま
expect?
せてもらったわよ、この下道が。よくもお父さんやお母さんをこんなゲームに。
エンジェ、あなたは家族を連れ戻すことを願った。
She sure did.
でももう一つ願っていたわ。覚えてる？
覚えてないわよ。
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
何があったかを知
The
ること。
truth. What happened on Rokenjima on October 4th and 5th, 1986? Didn't Anjay leave on her journey with Amakusa because she longed to answer that question?
そうだったわね。それが何？バカな。
What, this is the truth? Leon realized what Bernkstell was getting at. And because of that, Leon was too shocked to speak. This is your fragment? The game master isn't Bernkstell or Claire. Is it Angers? Then who is it? That's the wrong question. There is no game master. That could only mean one thing.
エンジェ、
Yep, we're in the theater, you know? We're watching a movie, a recording of past events.
まだわからないの？
No pieces are actively being moved.
何がよ。
We're just reading the game, you know, the record of all the chess moves.
これが真実なのよ。1986年 10月4日からの2日間の猫箱の中身よ。この後エヴァはクアドリアンで爆発を逃れて生き残るわ。そして猫箱の中身を欲するあなたに最後の瞬間まで沈黙を貫くことで、この何を
Still doesn't explain what happened to Battler. Lost to the
エヴァ
shadows.
一人が生還する。いくら警察が事故だと断定しても世間は納得しようとしなかったわ。
Obviously.
そして亡き夫に代わり会社を切り盛りしようと張り切れば張り切るほどに敵を作り、彼女が壮大な陰謀の女王であるかのようなイメージを作り上げている。彼女は真実を語りたかったでしょうね。
But who would believe such a ridiculous tale?
誰も信じない真実。エヴァの心は次第に壊れている。
Fair.
あなたもエヴァを拒絶し、エヴァもあなたを拒絶するようになり、歪み切った最後の肉親同士の関係。マナ息子の面影をあなたに重ねては苦労し、ますます歪んで壊れて。
Road to hell, good intentions, all that. Then, a strange message bottle was picked up and became a topic of conversation. It contained a bizarre story, one which told of a mysterious serial murder related to the gold on Rokkenjima. Everyone rejected the explosion accident theory and started to think up conspiracy theories. Some of these theories named Ava as the culprit, which tormented her even more. But Ava used even that to create the cat box. And until the moment of her death, she protected it. She protected the lock that held the cat box shut. So, no human would ever reach the truth inside the cat box. Not unless the witches who crossed the sea of fragments opened the lock.
これが真実よ。嘘よ。嘘よ。嘘よ。これが本当に真実だって言うなら言えるはずだわ。
Well, we're not in the game.
真実で
The game's over.
言えるわけない。言えるわけがないのよ。エンジェ、エンジェ。
Yeah, calm down. You're being hysterical. Anjay writhed with such strength that the chains on her arms and legs looked like they might snap. All over her body, a red, gooey liquid started to seep out. It was as though cracks had opened all over her and blood was leaking out of them.
何？赤き真実ではっきり宣言してあげた方がいいよ。なら言ってあげるわ。これはすべて真実。
Anjay's scream covered up Burns' red truth. If only some brave hero would come in with the gold's truth to discredit this villain.
私にそれを言わせなければ猫箱の中に封じ込めておけたのに。でもあなたはそう言うわよね。分かってたわ。もちろん。そしてその絶叫に歪む顔が見たかった。100年は思い出すだけで笑えるような素敵な形相だったわよ。戻りなさい。クズ肉に。
Anjay Hamburg. Don't worry, we can glue you back together. As Anjay held her head and screamed, the blood dripping from her finally grew so thick that it started scattering all over the place. Then, bit by bit, her body began to melt. No, to fall apart. Then, bits of her began to pile up on the chair, till she was nothing but a pile of guts and scraps. Ugh. I mean, at that point, you know, they're just gonna have to toss out that whole chair. There's no point in cleaning it. Don't laugh so hard, you might choke.
真実ってそんなにも尊いものなの？バカらしい、愚かしい。どうして人間は真実を自在にできないのかしら。バカみたいにそれだけを追い求め、そして目の当たりにして耐えられず、自ら崩れ
She'll
く
pull
なり
herself
果て
together
る。
eventually.
ねえ、見えてる？クレル、あなたもまたこの真実を隠したかったのよね。
Yeah, if that's what happened, it's kind of fucked up, huh?
あなたは戯れに憧れる推理小説のラストのようにメッセージボトルに封じるつもりで猫箱の物語をいくつも書いていた。それをあなたは海に投じたわ。この真実を知ったら苦しむだろう者を救うためにね。あなたが猫箱で閉ざし、エヴァがそれを錠前で閉じた。
Good teamwork.
その箱を私が切り裂いてあげたわ。あんたが隠したすべてが無駄。あんたが死んで隠した真実をすべて暴き出してやったわ。
You're such a fucking villain, Jesus Christ.
それがあなたの目的だったというのですか？あなたはクレルの死を恥ずかしめるためだけにこのようなことをしたというのですか？そし
Nah,
て
she did it because it's funny.
園児に見せて苦しめて、やはりあなたは邪悪な魔女だった。
Well, yeah, there's no such thing as a good witch.
私は最初から魔女よ。退屈から逃れることだけが目的の旅人。生きてはめでて、死しては食らって二度目出る。それが魔女の生き様よ。
私にはあなたが許せない。
Mm-hmm.
園児を苦しめ、クレルの異なる世界の私を恥ずかしめた。
My mirror, my other half.
私はあなたが許せない。
リオン、それでもクレルにとってあなたは希望なのよ。死してなおね。
Oh, okay.
クレルは崖より投じられた時、すでに運命の
Oh, yeah, that
袋
tends
に
to
閉じ
do,
込められていた。
doing that tends to do that to people.
そんな彼女にとってあなたというもう一人の自分が異なる世界では幸せに生きていたことを知れたのは。
そうです。私は彼女の救いなんです。だから、
Mm-hmm.
彼女の分まで
Can't
一生
break
懸命
here.
に幸せに生きなければならないんです。
リオン、もう少しだけこの真実の物語を見せてあげるわ。
Okay.
興味はありません。
いいえ、きっと面白いはずよ。
Yeah, we're in the climax now, but there's always the,
エヴァ
the
とキリエ
resolution.
の決闘が終わり、静寂に包まれるゲストハウス。その頃の客間へあなたを招待するわ。
客間、屋敷の。
Oh, yeah, who's kicking around in there? Berngasel snapped her fingers, and the scene of the mansion's parlor unfolded before them. The cruel tale they had just been shown. The parlor hadn't been particularly important. Jessica had been summoned to the parlor, but she then immediately was led to the dining hall and killed there. So, there had been nothing in the parlor. And right now, there was nothing in the parlor that appeared before
ここ
Leon.
に一体何があるというのですか？
見ての通り何もないわ。でも見ていて、面白いものを今から見せてあげるから。
あなたが言う面白いものが言葉通りの意味のわけがない。
Yeah, that'll probably be a little bit interesting. Ugh.
ほら、ごらんなさい。そっちよ。そっちの部屋の隅。
Berngasel was pointing at nothing more than a corner of the room. There was nothing there. She had told Leon to look there, so Leon was expecting something terrible to be there. But there really was nothing there at all.
そうね。何もないわ。この世界ではね。でも、隣り合うかけらを除くと、どうかしらね。
Alright, a slight deviation. It's bleu. On the white, blank wall, bit by bit, a splash of blood seeped into view. Blech. Then right there, a corpse appeared. But that couldn't be.
これは
It's me!
私
It was Leon, lying dead against the wall. Ushimiya Leon's corpse lay there exposed.
どういうことですか？どうして私がここに？この世界は私でなくクレルの世界のはず。
Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's supposed to be if Leon exists, the epitaph is never written because there's no need for it.
同時に存在できないはずです。
そうよ。だから今世界とかけらを移ったの。
Okay.
あなたの世界にね。
意味がわかりません。
つまりはこういうことよ。
Things still get
同
fucky.
じ末路をたどるということよ。
No escaping crossing fates.
意味がわかりません。どうして私がここで死んでいなければならないんですか？
あなたの世界で1986年親族会議に先立ちベアトリーチェの葬儀が催されたわ。
ええ、
Yeah.
知っています。それが私にとっての今日であり、ついさっきです。
それからその晩までの間に
Nope.
何があるかしら。
I don't know, family conference is normal.
何もありません。いとこたちと楽しく過ごし、親族一同で晩餐を過ごし、
そして夜には親族会議だわ。あなたは20歳になったら当主を継承するのだったわね。それは親族たちの間でも円満に決まってることなのかしら。
円満かどうかは知りませんが、そういうことになっているはずです。
A little bit of a internal division.
当主様が決めたことですから。
さすがに円満だとは信じてないようね。そういうことよ。金蔵があなたを目に入れても痛くないほどに可愛がり、特例的に当主の座をあなたに直接継承しようとしてい
Can't
る。
have that.
そのことを親族兄弟たちが面白く思っているわけもない。
Siblings objected to having Leon succeed the headship. Even Crouch joined in, saying that Leon was still too young. Then, on the night of the family conference, Kinzo tried proposing a difficult riddle.
まさか
They still solved it,
それは
and that was that.
そうよ。碑文の謎よ。礼拝堂の仕掛けを見ればわかる通り、金蔵は碑文の仕掛けを六軒島に屋敷を築いたその当初から考えていたの。
You just never implemented the riddle.
いつか次期当主を選ぶ試練に使えるかもしれないなんてロマンチックなことを考えながらね。
Kinzo decided to present the riddle at the family conference. Did he plan to give the position of successor to the person who solved it? Or did he promise to reconsider Leon's position as the head if it was solved? Either way, Kinzo was confident. He was confident that no one would be able to solve this tough riddle, which he had created himself.
あとはすでに見た真実と全く同じ展開よ。あっさりと兄弟たちに解かれ黄金の山を巡って一悶着。
All these same events played out, it's just you also got.
そしてキリエとルドルフは翌朝の事件発覚とそれに伴う騒ぎを未然に防ぐため深夜に殺人を決行する。いとこ部屋に集まっている子供たちを一人ずつ電話で呼び出して殺したわ。いとこの筆頭のあなたは一番最初に呼び出
Changed
され
nothing.
そして客間でキリエに撃たれて殺されたの。違うわね。あなたは1986年10月4日の夕方の後ろ
So
に
the you in the future.
だからこういうの。あなたは今日の深夜に客間でキリエに撃たれて殺されるのよ。
そんなバカな。それはそうだ、確率だ。クレルか
What
ら
about
リ
it?
オンという奇跡が低い確率で生まれるように。キリエおばさんがそのような強行に及ぶのだって限りなくゼロに近いわずかな。あなたはそのわずかな確率の世界を見つけることができる魔女ではありませんか。
Well, we're gonna get a guarantee there's no escaping this
い
one.
かにもその通りよ。 あなたという奇跡の存在を見つけ出すために257万8917の中のたった一つのかけらを見つけ出してきた。でもね、あなたのこの末路はね、とても簡単に見つけられたのよ。だって確率などないのだもの。
You existing with a very minor divergence factor, which immediately just folds right back on into the main
わずかな奇跡があればそれを見つけ出せる
sequence of events.
でもね、ないものは見つけられないの。私だって絶対の魔女に本当に絶対を保証されたら勝てないんだから。そんな。では私は
There's no happy ending.
257万8917分の257万8916の確率であなたはクレルとしての世界に生き、逃れ得ぬ運命に翻弄され気の毒な最後を遂げる。
And with that one, you exist as Leon and are toyed with an inescapable fate and leave the tragic ends.
分の1の確率で後ろ宮リオンとして生き、今夜キリエに殺される。
Womp womp.
つまりあなたの、いいえ、あなたたちの運命は257万8917分の257万8917の確率で、つまりいかなる奇跡も許さない絶対の運命で逃れ得ぬ袋小路に運命の牢獄に囚われているということなのよ。残念だったわね、クレル。いいえ、ベアトリーチェ。
Well, you know, it wouldn't be a real miracle if, you know, if it was in the odds, right? Right. A bright light seemed to turn the world white. Then, the next moment, they were back in the theater. As Claire stood absolutely still on the stage, the tip of Bern Costell's Reaper's scythe traced a line across her stomach. A red line was drawn across her white skin, exposed now that the dress had been cut, and black blood began to seep out.
ベアトリーチェ、閉ざされた逃げ得ぬ絶対の2日間に閉じ込められたあなたは、その2日間の猫箱の中で無限を生み出せる魔女となったわ。絶対に救われない、報われないことと引き換えのね。
Damn, that's real shitty.
しかしあなたは夢を見たわ。それが後ろ宮リオンという夢。自分がクレルとならずに済み幸せに暮らせていたかもしれない。奇跡の世界を夢見て自らを慰めていた。リオンを見つけるのは本当に苦労したわよ。その存在はベアトが夢見た通り本当に奇跡だったんだから。そして葬儀の最後に見せつけてやりたかったのよ。その奇跡をもってしてもあんたは惨劇を逃れられやしないってね。
Never in the cards. Faced with a little bit of sky that she could see through the bars of the jail that imprisoned her, the witch called Beatrice dreamed of a world where she might have been happy. However, the sky beyond the bars was also part of a larger jail.
私にはあなたという人がますにわからない。
Nah, it's simple. Byrne just likes being evil.
あなたは
He gets her rocks
なぜ
off.
こんなことをするのですか。
ベアトにゲームで負けたから。
She's the epitome of that meme where it's like, oh, I have such a tragic backstory and I do the things, it pains me to my actions. It's like, nah, I'm evil, bitch. I'm evil because I like it. It's funny.
ムカつきも晴れてきたわ。ねえベアト、見てる？見えてる？そして覚えてる？あなたには絶対に奇跡は起きないって私約束したわよね。
Yeah, rub it in.
さあリオン、ベアトの目の前であなたを元の世界へ戻してあげる。感激の魔女たちはだるい一家団らんのシーンはもう縮小気味だそうよ。
Aw, man.
だからあなたが切り絵に打たれる
Yeah, get
直
rid to the
前の
good
瞬
stuff.
間へ送ってあげる
You know, we're looking at the YouTube scroll bar to see where the
その
most
瞬間
viewer
をベアト
engagement
に見
is.
せつけてあげる
The most replayed segment.
死ねやゲロカスリオン
Oh, it's been a while since we heard that.
ゲロカスベアトの最後の希望
Burgerso raised her Reaper scythe, swung it down with gusto, and plunged it deep into Claire's stomach.
綺麗に死ねたつもりだった死骸を腹渡引きずり出して恥ずかしめるのが私の一番得意なことだってのに
Takes one to know one. Heartlessly, ruthlessly, brutally, she swung the enormous black blade buried into Claire's stomach back up towards the heavens. Along a vertical line from Claire's stomach to her chest, a blade cut deeply, slicing Claire open. Her red-black innards jutted out, and then, like a dam breaking, they burst out of her stomach, covering the world with dark red entrails. They're really not that dark. They're kind of pink. I've had to see a lot of pretty graphic, I wouldn't even call it first aid. It's more like trauma videos. For my training, you know, like how to like put someone's guts back on, you know, when they fall out, like when a piece of shrapnel rips their stomach
お父様
open.
のことを敬愛いたしておりますでもそのお父様の気持ちにはどうしてあなたたちは私を助けたんですかどうして死なせてくれなかったんですか私はあの時の大怪我でこんな体で生きさせられているこんな体で生きていたくなんかなかったこんな恋をすることもできない体でそんな
How so?
そんなの生きる価値がないんじゃないですか
It doesn't sound like you're a physical cripple.
核じゃないですかそう私は
Unless you are.
核なんだどうして私はあの時に死なせてくれなかったんですか
Alright, Yasuda, Leon, you're having a bit of a moment here. When I came to, I was in the parlor of the mansion. When did I get here? I heard a sound behind me, then slowly turned around. And there...
ごめんね悪くはない
Nothing personnel, kid. I could see down the frigid barrel of the gun Aunt Kyrie was pointing. Then, slowly, she pulled the trigger. I could feel a razor-sharp wind pass through my body like a knife slicing through butter. Prepared for death, and hoping to see my fate until the end, I slowly opened my eyes. The world had been cut in two. Kyrie was frozen in place like a statue, still pointing her gun with a cold smile on her face. And had been cut in half at an angle, the top part of her slowly sliding off to the side. No, that wasn't quite right. That wasn't right at all. It wasn't just Kyrie. The whole world had been sliced in half at an angle, and was slowly sliding off to one side. Fissures seemed to appear across the world, and before I had any time to process it, the world shattered. Yeah, this fragment sucks. No twinks left behind, Leon.
猫を飼ってると飼い主も似るもんさ。
Great. Perfect counter to Burn. He pointed at Burnkistel with the tip of the pitch-black sword that had sliced the world, glaring at her.
なに戻ってきたのは気まぐれだって言いたいの
Something smell fishy.
いい話で終わらせるわけがね。そこまでベアトリーチェが憎いか。
私が勝ち逃げなんて許すと思う？私に敗北の屈辱を味わわせてくれた分、私根に持つと100年は忘れない。
I mean, what humiliation besides, you know, trashing Erica?
根のくれえやつだ。
私のことをないがしろにしないでほしいわね。
大丈夫か、リオン。どうした？おい。
Okay, no. Leon had suddenly doubled over, groaning.
胸が痛いんです。これは。
Fair. I'd have some serious heartburn going on right now, too. Will roughly grabbed the hand that was pressed against Leon's chest and tore it away. Blood was seeping out of the place that Leon's hand had been. It was the place that the bullet would have entered if Kiri had shot Leon.
リオンの体が受け入れかかっているのよ。
Succumbing to fate.
自分の運命をね。
リオン、しっかりしろ。くそ、鎖か。
When Will tried to pick Leon up, he finally noticed that the chains attached to each wrist and ankle.
なに？連れて逃げる気？逃がさないわよ。リオンが血を吐いて、あまたの世界すべてに希望がないことを絶望して、もだえながら死ぬところを
It clearly hasn't
今から
gotten
みんな
dramatic
で
enough.
鑑賞して楽しむんだから。
リオンは見せ物じゃね
Will swung his pitch black sword and destroyed the chains binding Leon. The chains and shackles shattered into little bits like glass, then vanished.
私の遊びを邪魔するの。
え。てめえは神じゃねえ。できるのは運命を嘲笑うことだけだ。リオンの運命はリオンが決める。人間の運命をおもちゃにするんじゃ
Yeah,
ねえ。
we don't believe in that predestination shit here.
元老院の魔女、この大ベルンカステルによくそれだけのことを言えたわ。
Uh-huh.
リオンだけじゃなく、
Real full of yourself,
あ
huh?
んたも用済みなのよ。ベアとのファンタジーをミステリーだと断言してぶった切ってくれた。あんたの役目はそれでおしまい。おとなしく帰っていれば、それで見逃してやったの
Yep,
に。
could have just taken your pension and gone quietly into
どこの
retirement.
こと戻ってきたからには、私のおもちゃにされても文句は言えないわね。おいでなさい。私の可愛い子猫たち、みんなでガリガリと引っかいて、綺麗に生皮を剥いてあげてちょうだい。ぶどうの皮をつるんとひんむくみたいにね。
Do you eat your grapes without the skin? Ooh. Ever seen that effect? When Burgestel clapped her hands twice, countless pairs of glaring jewels appeared all around Will and Leon. They were clearly cat eyes, but their breathing sounded far more terrifying than any cat.
いる。
You'll be fine. It's a metaphysical wound.
猫の爪切りなんて慣れてる。
Just gotta like swaddle them in a towel. The number of jewels surrounding them already reached into the thousands. Will pointed his sword in the direction one after another, warding off the surrounding cats.
リオン、しっかりしろ。
You're being hysterical. You're acting like a woman.
撃たれたことを、いや、撃たれることを認めるんじゃねえ。
Leon tried to fight in incredibly tearing pain. No, it was a fight against the promised future that Burgestel had shown. However, the gouging stake representing that future, which the Witch of Miracles had guaranteed would hold absolutely no miracle, was firm and merciless. Bit by bit, and yet unceasingly, it continued to pierce Leon's chest.
いいか、俺が一瞬だけ包囲を。そして全力で走れ。どこまでもまっすぐだ。方向は大事じゃない。 こから遠ざかることだけを意識して、ただひたすらに
Just anywhere is better than here.
可能な限り努力します。無理な時は許してください。
無理な時弱音を吐くな。俺が許さない、クレルも許さねえ。お前はクレル257万8917分の1の希望
Yeah,
だ
that's
ろ
all
う
a
が。
world's worth of motivation,
お
huh?
前が諦めた。お前は無数の世界のお前たちを裏切るんだ。
No pressure.
だからくじけるんじゃねえ。あがいてあがくんだよ。奇跡を探すんじゃねえ。
Not
お
over
前
till
が
the
奇
fat
跡
lady
になるんだ。
sings.
私が奇跡。
お前は幸せな未来へたどり着くんだよ。くじけるんじゃねえ。弱音を吐くんじゃねえ。もう一度弱音を言ってみろ。今度は俺がお前の尻をつねってやる。
Oh, Willard.
はい。
Maybe now's not the best time to be playing grab ass.
この奇跡の魔女の前で奇跡になれとよくも言えたものだわ。奇跡など所詮はファンタジー。ミステリーで断罪されたこの世界で這いつくばって無慈悲に虫けらのように死になさい。
Worm.
感激の魔女たち
Warm.
はそれを見届けたくて心待ちにしているのよ。
何がミステリー。心のねえミステリーなんざ俺が認めると思うか。
I mean, probably some real shittily written ones. Oh yeah, Shamisen.
めんどくせえ。
I'm not even gonna bother, reading that one. It's like, the 3-string guitar. It's the body of it's made out of cat skin.
まとめてかかってこいよ。 SSVD 首席異端審問官ミラード H ライト。これが最後の刃だ。
Well, at least going by that title, because you're retiring.
ぶちやれ子猫たち。
Wow. At once, all the cat eyes opened wide, undulated and spun in a spiral, then swallowed Will up. But Will and Leon were not swallowed up. As though a balloon had expanded around the two of them and burst, the cats that had flown in at them from all directions were now being launched away.
あらやるじゃない。
子猫に用はねえ。親猫しか眼中にねえんだな。奇跡の魔女ベルンカステル。伸びすぎた爪を研いでやら。
Come over, gotta feed you like an onion or something. Does that kill cats? I know it poisons dogs, but... Another flash of the black blade spun into black tornado and scattered the cats once more. Leon, realizing that this was the opening Will had planned to make, ran all out, hand on chest.
ウィル走ります。
ダイアナはすぐ腹を壊す。ミルクは温めてから頼む。
In general, you shouldn't give cats milk, once they're past their, kitten weaning period, once they're weaned off. What, you plan to die here, bud? Before Leon could ask Will to repeat what he said, Will had already leapt onto the stage and was now confronting Berncastel. It was like the climax of a show. Loud cheers erupted from the pitch-black audience seating. On either side of Claire, who lay with her insides exposed, stood Will with his pitch-black sword, and Berncastel with the scythe that could harvest miracles from
キリエ
fate.
とルドルフが犯人で島の人間を皆殺しにした。ディオンを客間に呼び出して射殺した。悪いな。
Fake news.
そんな真実とやらをミステリーが認めるわけにはいかねえ。こいつは全てファンタジーだ。
ファンタジーそういうことにしてリオンの運命を逃れさせるつもり、やってごらんなさいな。
Like How can you actually laugh like that? That takes a lot of effort. Oh, here we go. Nice little red-blue battle. Bill's black sword had cut through Burncastell's body at a diagonal angle. However, it had no effect, like cutting the reflection of the moon on the water.
なに手がかりって。
キリエとルドルフが犯人だとする。お前のミステリー。キリエたちが犯人であることを示す手がかりはいずれのゲーム中にも存在しない。
あるわけないじゃない。あったとしても、島は丸ごと吹っ飛んだんだし。
Gone.
つまり手がかりなしってわけだ。ならばそれはミステリーじゃねえ。
Yep.
ファンタジー。
Get out of that.
はあ。
Oh. Yeah, come on, Burn. Have you been sleeping for like the past 70 hours? It's impossible for an unprovable truth to become the truth in the human world. In other words, even the truth cannot leave the cat box.
真実を猫箱に閉じ込めようというのそれがミステリーの戦い方なの
Look, man, we're tooth and nailing it here. We're gonna use whatever scraps we can. With a laugh like the howl of a wild animal, Burncastel carelessly tossed her sight aside.
戦うのさえもバカらしい。おいでゲロカス。好きなだけ私を切ってごらんなさい。あんたの言い分全部聞いてあげるわ。
貴様、心をないがしろにしたミステリーをすべて貫く。
All right.
にくれてやら。
Talking pretty big game there, bud.
私を倒せなかった時に覚悟することね。さあ、おいで遊んであげるわ。20の草人やら。
はあ。
Don't go charging up for a power pad. Woo! Well then. What a dramatic place to leave off of, huh? And I think we still have the question mark segment to do, huh? The mystery. Ha you get it? It's question marks because it's a mystery, and now we're talking. We're gonna be discussing the mystery. How clever! But yeah, that was pretty good, guys. That one was pretty good segment right there. Not gonna lie. Good thing we still have a good old battler boy running around in the shadows of the island there to help facilitate our old boy Willard in his theory crafting. Trying to ignore the incredibly painful chest, Leon kept on running and running without stopping. I dashed out of the theater of the witches of theater going, then ran through an incomprehensible world of blackness. Before I knew it, I was running through a place that looked like a sea of stars. Or maybe the bottom of the ocean with stars scattered around. If I get careless for a second, I'll probably trip. No, if I get careless, I won't be able to tell whether I'm running, or just making running motions as I freefall. Endlessly sinking deeper into the ocean of stars. I just kept on running, without any goal or target. I mustn't stop moving. I mustn't fall here. If I fall, I'll crush the hope of the me's and countless worlds. The happy world that the happy world that the Beatrices dreamed of. Beatrice being in plural threw me off. I'm their last hope, the only one who can reach that world. Even though I understand this, the witch who controls miracles has declared there will be no miracle. And the truth that she thrusts in front of me with those words gouges cruelly into my chest.
ごめん、ウィル。もう体が
Leon finally succumbed to the fierce pain and fate and fell over. Oh, you're just doing pretty good. You know, without an arm, but hey, you'll live. Leon's body was held roughly from behind and lifted up. I wouldn't call missing an arm okay, but... fair, yeah. You got a lot of heavy stuff weighing on you at the moment.
そうだな。人は誰だって最後には死ぬ運命だ。なら、その人生は全て無意味なの。違うだろ。人生の意味も価値も人生そのものすらも人が自分で描くんだ。押し付けられた運命が何だったんだ。受け入れるな。世界はお前が紡げ。
We go on a whole rage against the dying of the light theme there.
ああ、忘れてきちまった。取りに帰るのも億劫だ。
Yeah, it's probably getting chewed on right now. There were rips all over Will's body. Also, his left arm had been brutally torn off from the elbow. His clothes were in tatters, and he looked like a blood-stained scarecrow. Then Leon noticed that this place had once felt like a sea filled with stars, both above and below them. Those stars now gathered together and were surrounding them. That huge number of stars, grouped up in even-numbered clusters, all glared at the two of them. Will was holding Leon with one arm. He couldn't take his sword out. However, he didn't let go. He was determined to let Leon escape from here, and to lead Leon towards the happy tale that the Beatrices dreamed of. There were the cats whose eyes glowed in the empty darkness. The queen of cats who permitted no miracles appeared. I think it said through instead of though. No. Honestly, who would believe you at this point?
審議してやるぜ。
ウィル、私を。
置いてはいかねえぜ。お前に教えてやる。どうして俺が SSVD をやめるのか。
Because it is a scary sounding acronym.
そういえば、私も知らないわ。それどうして？
クソったれな。お涙ちょうだいのミステリーばっかりに飽きた。
Yeah, why can't there be happy mysteries?
ハッピーエンド上等。逃げ延びてやるぜ。俺が教えてやるんだ。バッドエンドしかないと絶望して死んだベアトリーチェにハッピーエンドもありえるんだって。
What a fucking hero, huh?
教えてだから絶対にお前を殺さねえ。猫ども、左の二の腕もくれてやるぜ。
What, from like up to the shoulder?
欲しけりゃ両足もくれてやる。だがな、絶対にリオンだけは離さねえ。俺が張ってでもこいつをお前というバッドエンドから逃がしてやる。
What a hero.
リオン、ウィルはあんたをかばって死ぬ気よ。嫌でしょ。私なんか放って逃げてくださいって。
ウィル。
What a manipulator.
私を離さないでください。逃げ延びます。
Yeah, this place sucks.
そしてあなたも。
Oh yeah, we're going for the happy end. As he said this, Will held Leon tight.
というわけだ。あがくぜ。ベルンカステル。
私たちは奇跡を諦めない。
絶対に奇跡は起こさないと奇跡の魔女が約束したのに。それをよくも口にできたこと。
Again, it just makes the miracle all the more powerful and resounding.
さよなら。二人とも忘却の
You'd think you would have learned that lesson.
死すら迎えられずに誇りに降り積もられて消え去りなさい。さあ、子猫たち、殺せとは命じないよ。その出番の終わった駒二つを お片付けなさい。
Yep, throw him in the box with Erica. A billion, a trillion, a quadrillion cats all bared their fangs. In the starry sky of cat eyes, countless flesh-colored mouths opened, exposing countless teeth. The world was wrapped in flesh and blood and fangs. Metal. And someone dropped a handful of pipes at the Home Depot. Ooh, but yeah, mystery element next. Ooh, how exciting. How very exciting, but we will have to get to that next time on the next episode of Umineko. But before we leave off, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell. I'll see you guys all next time for the next episode, where we will hop in to the episode 7 mystery segment. Hope to catch you guys all there later. Bye. Mwah.